I guess since we have quorum, we'll call this lovely meeting to order. Happy New Year.
You as well.
So I need a motion to approve the minutes.
I can make a motion.
Thank you. Second.
I'll second.
Second. Okay. Anybody opposed? Easier way to do that, right? Okay, so the motion for the minutes passes. Any visitor comments? No. Okay. Moving right along. So officer elections, we have to elect, keep going for officers. So Holland, are you still on?
Still happily serve as your vice.
Okay, well, I will happily go as chair only if Holland serves as a vice. I'm teasing you, but yeah. So I'm technically to run. So I guess any questions, discussions with this? So according to Robert's rules, we do need to take a vote. So all those in favor of me as vice chair and Holland as or I'm sorry, me as chair and Holland as vice chair.
I see what you tried to do.
I tried. Yeah, I shouldn't have looked her way. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? So the motion passes. So that's how the manner of elections went, correct? Here's to another fun year. So we'll go through for old business rooftop lighting update. Votes on that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, that's me.
No worries.
Okay. Yes, we have a great update. So I have been talking with Show Me Electro. His name is Dan. Dan has already started inventorying the Old Orchard Business District. I needed to know where the light bulbs are burned out. So I know how many light bulbs to get. And then his next step is going to be, and I need to connect him with people, business owners, so he can get into the buildings. He wants to look at outlets. And then we're going to also need to assess for the buildings that don't have string lights, how many string lights I need to order. So I know he'd been in contact. I think he spoke with someone at Novel Neighbor.
He's already done our lights.
He's done y'all's,
Yeah,
okay.
he's our electrician.
I know,
Yeah,
and thank
so-
you.
Yeah, he's lovely.
No,
Lovely. to
he's
work with.
wonderful.
Yeah, he did our house when we redid it, and that's how I found him. And then he
Okay.
did the shop for us.
Okay, good, because I spoke to him last week. So he didn't tell me that he'd done.
Oh, yeah.
One building
Yep.
out the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We were done.
Yeah, okay. So, John, I need to connect you with him.
Sure. Update from my end. We did get them 100% working, I think at the end of November there.
Okay.
So they still go out all the time and it's still an old strand, but having this new guy in, my suggestion would be to get him, make sure he's good, maybe use him on a different project or whatever things you have him doing. I'm happy to meet with him and show him the situation, but right now we're working. They
Okay.
still go off. And I think that might be a problem continually, is that they go off when there's a really hard rain over 250 light bulbs. There's just the opportunity for a little bit of water to get in there no matter what. And it's blowing the GFI. But right now we're good. It's just every day we have to just check the GFI and turn it on. And the tenant across the street doesn't do it. I have to run over there and remind her or do it. It's a little hassle. But as you get more rapport from this guy, we'll know like we'll be responsive to any bigger issues in the future.
Well, I think he will. He came
Yeah,
from
I
a
mean, he's
very
done
good
everything,
recommendation.
Bob uses him
Yeah.
for every little thing we have. So I think he's running electricity to
Yeah,
one of our
and I spoke with
signs
Bob.
eventually. Yeah. Yeah. So
Mhm.
he's been very good with us.
I guess give them my contact so I can, I mean, however you wanna handle.
Well,
and
that,
looking at a whole new strand on the
Yeah.
north side of the street. We have a 2-year-old strand on the south side.
okay.
I guess as the north will be just continue to get worse and
Okay.
worse.
And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to, and actually next month, because this is gonna be ongoing. I know it's been a few years, but it is picking up traction. The goal is to complete one side of town and then move down to the other side of town. I don't want a piecemeal. I want to move it so we see something. But I will connect him with you, and I will bring him in as well so that hopefully we'll have 4 months. And he can just, he is lovely.
Yes,
I mean,
very nice.
he actually, and this was, he had me at this, he said, look, Renee, I came back to Webster at night. I was looking at the light bulbs and to see what was dark, because I can't tell unless I come at night. The other person wasn't. He also said, yes, I will work with you to inventory the lights. The other person wasn't doing that either. So for me, that was, work
Progress.
ethic was like, yes, we can do this. So that's the update on the lights. We are making.
Could I please get connected with him as well?
Yes, ma'am.
That'd be great.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. So that is the lighting update.
Cool. Thank you. Good way to start off. Holiday festival feedback. Anybody thoughts? I can share that we had 200 bags made. I ordered enough to have them for 25 too, so at least we have bags already done. And we probably gave out about 150 at the event, because whatever was left, I then took down to those businesses that contributed. So then they had some to give away. I did bring them to the restaurant. I put them in Civil Alchemy because that was easier to do. I figured it was a better place to put shopping stuff. So I hope maybe next year that was, I don't know if you guys had any response to those, or if you measured your,
It was a slower day for some reason. I don't know
Yeah.
why. The weather was beautiful. I would have thought that tons of people would have come out, and it was just kind of a slower day for some odd reason. I think we ended up having like one person like use the coupon or whatever we had put in there. So it was interesting. Because it was a gorgeous day. Because
Yeah.
I brought my kids out. We walked the whole thing and
Yeah.
did everything. So
No.
Notice anything, like.
Yeah, I didn't know if you,
Come through, we were gonna be busy anyway, the annex is always busy, so.
is that what you
We
gave?
give away cookies and
Gave away scoops. Buy a scoop, get a
give
scoop.
cocktails or a
Yeah.
wintry cocktail. But then we gave a gift card for the scoops, but
Yeah, I didn't know.
they can use that for a year, so.
Yeah.
We don't really know, and I donate those for all sorts of auctions and different
Yeah.
things too, so it'd be hard to know. We were busy that day, but who knows what was really due to the event.
Yeah, we threw in 5 different annual healthcare packages. So through the 150 bags, so that's like $140 a pop. I just randomly did it. And then I kind of was nosy as I watched people walk up and want the treats in the bag, that they were pet friendly. So I knew kind of which bags. I was like, oh, I'll just hand that one just to, you know what I mean? Because it was a little bit easier than giving something away to, whether they give it to somebody else or anything. So I, obviously for those, it'll be a year for them to use, but maybe if we continue to do this, that maybe it'll grow a little bit more, or get more businesses to throw stuff in. Who knows? Maybe that's but I thought it went well while we were there.
We had about at least 150 kids saw Santa.
Was it up or down, you think, from years past?
It was more than last year. A couple of dogs,
Yeah.
several 20-somethings want to take their pictures with Santa too. Santa and Mrs. Claus are available again next year if we want them.
Would they be available, do you think, a little bit later if we pushed it? And I say that because of the moving, the timing and the evening situation where the lights.
And the only reason for the last 2 years that we haven't had them start later and be there later is they got a previous commitment,
Okay.
which is somewhere over in Illinois that they've been going to every year for many, many years, and it's the same thing again next year.
Okay.
They are already committed.
Okay.
If they were to ever stop doing that,
Yeah.
there'd be no problem. But that's their constraints for that particular individuals.
I was just curious, because I know, I mean, the movie was not exactly super well attended. But it was more to, right, I mean, it was
Yeah.
more to get into that, so I don't know if that's something we want to.
I mean,
Change
logistically
or-
and the hay bales and all that stuff worked out well.
It
In
did.
fact, people used the hay bales when the performers were performing before the dust thing.
Yeah.
But what was interesting was it was mostly young kids and their parents. All the parents left one there, went, got food, brought and came back. So that was like, they took that opportunity to eat stuff, but you could probably maybe at most 20 kids.
Yeah.
Of course, it's the first year we've done it,
Right.
but
So maybe we,
That time of year's hard to get kids, you know, anyway, so.
yeah,
The
that's
fact that you
true.
had 20, I
That's
think
true.
it's fairly
Yeah.
impressive.
yeah. And maybe we just try to get next year to see them before we
I know,
panic
I
or
did see a
anything.
lot of like the older ones that saw Santa left and then they came back because evidently they had parked close by with shopping bags. So that was a good sign. But yeah,
I have to admit, though, I was surprised we gave out that many bags. I honestly was not expecting to do that at all. And thought maybe taking 200 was a bit of an overkill. But we, like I said, we put treats in all the bags and then randomly put those. So I was surprised to even hand that many out. I was not anticipating that at all. So,
Mentioned free, typically people,
yeah,
start experience with retail.
Yeah.
Given something to drink, something to eat.
Yeah.
Cookie, well, you
it's
skip the
different.
cookies, right?
Yeah. We
Halloween.
did do kid-sized hot chocolates over at Starbucks. It was interesting. Not all of them were redeemed. We must have given out 150, but only 70
I
were
think
redeemed.
because Bethesda had their corner lot of hot chocolate.
They had hot chocolate too. Bethesda brought
Yeah.
their table. They had a really nice table with lots of cool stuff. And they had hot chocolate too. Which really worked. Because
Yeah.
people aren't gonna go over to Bethesda. So
No,
having them come.
Yeah.
So more businesses like that could do that again. There's plenty of space to do it.
Well, maybe we'll start, Christmas in July again and figure out where we're headed, but we tentatively we're good to book. And we already set that up, did you, for Santa?
Yeah,
Yeah, so, okay.
if we wanna use them, we got them.
And what's the date then next year?
Whatever the first Saturday is.
Might as well get this on the books.
Is that gonna be
December
the-
6th.
Planning that?
December 6th.
Yeah.
Is that the other group planning that next year?
Yeah, but we gotta turn in all the stuff, so we'll add that to your list of agenda, president or chairman. That's right, thank you. Okay. Anything else on holiday? So merchant business. Brochure update, and I still owe for it. Am I in it?
Yes,
Okay,
You
I
are.
still owe. for it.
we ended up with 30 businesses opted in. And it's a nice breakdown. 7 dining and food services, 14 shopping, 5 services, and 4 arts and venues. So, did you see the alternate graphic?
Yes,
So, and that's fine, I just wanna make sure you saw it. I think he's working on something, I can see it on his face.
No, I just let that go. I was about to give my excuse for plates full.
But it's all put together. Did you see that I sent it to you?
I know you sent, and I was and for some reason, my attachments, when I was on my phone, I couldn't see it real well, but
Will be hard to see on your phone.
okay. I saw the big picture, but I didn't see the original, and that's what I was trying to find, because this thing was being weird.
John wants to possibly redo the front cover. But once we have that all,
The
You all
content was
approve it?
great. The apples feel like, they just like they use fresh sheet.
And literally too, actually, the apples need to be painted.
Down in those
Uh-huh.
apples, yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah, check out the email.
I will.
I have, stuff that works.
Okay. And when's the goal to do that or get that?
it's up to you guys. I mean, once you approve it, it doesn't take very long to print it.
Okay.
The hard part's 90% of it,
Right,
99% of it really is done. I
right.
just thought that the logo was pretty tired and the apples were kind of like 1990s clip art that looked real.
Okay.
Now just for background, the Love Old Orchard logo,
Yes.
that was put together by a previous commission. It was before me. It was here when we got here, so it's been around a while. But that's where that came from.
The gazebo picture's pretty timeless, so I don't think that.
Yeah, the
exists.
watercolor I really like.
That is it.
And it ties in with the other association because they use Maryland's watercolors too.
Nice.
She does, and she provides them free of charge. She doesn't charge us to use her artwork.
Cool.
Well, that leads us into the annual planning and report. So, which might tie in if we want a new logo to put this down.
That's a good point.
So,
And paint that number, right?
yeah. So we are now required to plan, correct? And basically project and kind of goal set and everything for where we see ourselves and opportunities and things that we can do in the upcoming year. And this, if I'm not mistaken, it's due, I looked at that. We need to have it done before March, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And this is gonna sound like a terrible question to say, and I didn't pull the bylaws out, but do we have a mission and purpose and all that in our bylaws that states what kind of, or do we have to set this?
I asked for a copy of the bylaws and such. I haven't gotten it yet. I don't know.
Okay,
I want to, but I don't like assuming.
Yeah.
I would think so, yes. I don't have a copy of it.
Okay. I thought of that as I'm like, well, so this is what your handout is. So we need to define and kind of fill out this, and then this would get submitted. So such things is this is planning for,
So let me ask you a question. Do you guys recall doing this last year?
we've never done this.
No.
No, it was done last year. In fact,
It was
This
John made the presentation to city council.
Oh, this is what got done?
So
Didn't you make the presentation?
for budget,
Budget, yeah,
Yes,
but
I had to read,
It was over at Webster
they
University.
delivered something, I just had to read a paragraph.
so I think we
We needed
did.
somebody from our group really to
Stand up and say it.
formally say
Okay.
whatever, but it was basically a paragraph.
But y'all did not do this exercise last year? Because if you did, I would
No.
go pull.
Here,
Oh, it's, the form was filled out, but they didn't do it.
Eric or
Eric filled it
Mara
out.
prepared it, basically
Yeah.
handed it to me and said, go read this.
That's
So
what he
this
said.
is on,
All right, well, We should refer to what was,
Oh, okay, then that might make
which
things a
was
little
done last
easier.
year. I think would make things a little easier.
Good,
Um,
that helps.
also, and Gregory's not here yet, so we might have to put him on next month. Because I think that also goes into conjunction with the next item, which is the budget. He can answer some questions and, because I had some questions and just tying all of this stuff in. So that's gonna be my first thing and then find
Okay. Okay,
out where the work plan went.
so at least you have a black backbone, doesn't it?
And the other thing in having this preliminary budget discussion, I'm also working on a memo of understanding from the city, between the city and Old Orchard. It outlines all the services that we provide so that you all know what we do, the money that's invested. And so I think that that will be very helpful. I'm just trying to get everybody to fill out their part. But that will be very helpful as we commence with creating the budget for FY26.
I think my summary of just understanding, maybe you guys just clarify. My understanding of the budget, for 7 years now, is Mara and Eric come in, read off everything that we spent money on last year. What, it's basically a projection for this year, which is pretty much the same as last year, right? And then we would give our opinion on maybe a little bit of this or that we want for this year, and then they would adjust it accordingly. So
Yeah,
I mean, it's pretty simple, our budget. It was pretty much done also behind the scenes. And we all got to go, that looks good, that looks good. And
So
then
I
we go, what about that new event we're gonna do?
Yeah.
We would say, how about, let's add 5,000 for the new lighting, you know?
so that's how budgeting is done. That is exactly how it's done. But it should not be two individuals. This is your budget. And I think that's what the city manager is moving towards. At least you should have a little bit more participatory action, but that is how it's done. So this is your end of year. Okay, and if you look through your end of year and your expenses, and y'all are actually in pretty good shape because I know where I'm gonna take the money to pay for lighting, but even something like that, lighting, advertising, there have been conversations in BDC about advertising, and there have been conversations about all three districts coming together and doing more to do a unified Webster. So you can look at, you have a very healthy advertising line item. The course of action would be, is this, do you feel it's enough? Are you requesting more? What are you wanting to do? That's part of the budgeting process. What do you want to do in FY26? What are some of the activities? The tree lighting was great. Are there other things? So that's fine how it was done, but it doesn't sound like you all were given an opportunity to actually think out more so what would you like to do and what would you like to do with this commission and how would you like to direct it?
I think one of the biggest parts of this each year has been an explanation of what each line item actually represents, like a breakdown of well, this is your banners, and this is the dumpsters, and this is the
Yeah, that's actually. Well, and the other thing that we need to think about is, where in here was all the events?
because now those things that were in here,
We need
now,
to-
we need to either lump it there and then transfer it to the new group.
Yeah, or figure out or create a.
What do you mean lump it and transfer?
So the new organization, the new business organization of Old Orchard.
Trade
that
association.
Trade
and merchant,
association.
and BAO.
merchant.
So that'll be on the council's decision to move the funds to there.
Well, typically, and that's fine. Typically, we're paying for it right now. So it's a matter of our money now saying, oh, we want, rather than going into the festival, then, and the gazebo series and all those that we now are gonna have to go to the other one. We're just saying we are already paying for it. So I don't know if it'd be where that comes from in here, because we need to figure out what to ask for. the other organization needs to figure out what to ask for from here to go in their checking account. So we can put on the holiday festival, the gazebo series, all those things. And so that's what I think we were trying to figure out where exactly are some of those things coming from? Like where's the gazebo series money, for example?
In what line item? is
What
that?
line item is a gazebo series? So we can say, oh, the gazebo series cost us $5,000, so we need the other one, we'll
Mhm.
budget on the other side to figure out what we need to ask for, and same
Right.
thing from there, what portion of that was administrative, all those little pieces, because that'll come off of, we'll need to request it shift, you know what I mean? So we need to say if the $5,000 was here, we just need to put it down here that's going over there, need to figure out where.
Mhm.
So I don't know what.
I don't know where the gazebo series was taken.
Yeah, gazebo series and then holiday festival and what else was part of that?
Because some of that
What?
would
Trunk or
be,
treating.
Trunk or treating.
The different marketing and
Yeah.
and some of that might be, I don't know. So what I find interesting is, because you guys haven't done any advertising. You haven't done that much advertising.
there was something around, haven't we always done that where we buy in around the holidays?
Oh, the
into
gang-
Webster for
the-
a good time?
Yeah, the gang
and-
page and the gift guide,
Yeah.
yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
Coming out of there too.
So
Yeah,
That would be
ultimately, I would think that,
$400.
Oh, I don't know.
I would think we would be asking for a similar amount as this past year. We would just have to say that the chunk that last year was given to those events will now just be going to the other.
Yeah.
I'm also, the line items are all, it's like, do we have a new accountant? It seems like all the expense accounts have a new name. Does it look different to you?
To be honest with you, I can't answer that. And my guess is some of these things underneath here, maybe there's things attached, but.
So
but,
I'm sorry, what expense accounts do you, because what do you see that you think is different? Because I don't know, so I'm just asking.
Don't know that I remember seeing medical insurance and long-term
Yeah, the
disability.
That's,
A lot of personnel.
I think that
This
a
personal.
piece of my salary is in here.
Okay.
Because Fran is a contracted employee,
Right.
so
So salaries and all that is
Mm.
you.
some of that is me, some of that is Fran. Because you pay for a portion of Fran's salary that comes out of your budget.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen FICA as a line item. on
That-
their
that's not
worksheets.
for you.
Medical insurance, long-term
No, I
disability.
mean,
Yeah, I think he
They've
did,
seen
because
this
Eric
worksheet.
didn't run this.
Right, they've seen this worksheet from
Yeah,
before, but that's not been on what
Yeah.
Dave said.
I got you.
And I,
and he wouldn't know that. Gregory
Correct.
wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
No,
no,
absolutely
that's-
not.
So I think for Gregory, if we could ask, some of this on, I don't know how it's classified on the back end, on some of how the events are, how the line items come out, so we can kind of look.
So what you would need to do is, because I don't know,
Yeah,
it's in here somewhere.
yeah,
And that's what I was saying. I don't think that you guys have done $8,400 worth of advertising between July and now. So some of that might be out of there.
yeah.
I know when we did, the holiday festival, I put a lot of it on my credit card, and then I turned in, Fran gave me receipts, so I'm waiting to turn in those
Sure.
receipts. So I don't know where they took it from.
Yeah. And we still have a little time after this too, and that's only through the 12th.
True, I mean, right now you're
Yeah.
at, per this, yeah, and there's,
Yeah.
I mean, for
Yeah.
this, you're at 43%, which is pretty good.
where do you guys see what our total balance of our budget is?
So your
Not our
total-
budget, but our total balance of our funds that are account.
What you have left right now?
Yeah,
Right now, what you have left. So it's the top item, it's revenue. Revenue totals as of 12/12 were $56,436.90. Paula, did you raise your hand?
no, Pam first. I plan bless.
Where's Pam at? Oh, hey Pam,
She must be muted.
she has to unmute herself. She's not muted.
I don't see her.
There you go.
Morning, Pam.
Hi. Oh wait, just a sec.
Trying to move you to, there you go.
All right, I'm back.
Okay, there you go.
All right, good to see everybody. I had comments earlier in the conversation, but I'll wait. You guys can finish your budget conversation, then we'll circle back to a couple things. Is that okay?
Of course.
Okay.
Sorry we
So-
missed you.
That's okay. I mean, I can, yeah, why don't you guys finish your budget
Yeah.
conversation and then I'll circle back.
So does it sound like that we need Gregory to be answering some of these questions about where these, or we need just maybe, I'm wondering if we could be emailed once receipts are in and if we could get broken down under each line item so that as we're looking to decide what moves from one committee to another, as well as what we're going to approve, we have more information.
So Gregory was invited, whether he's late. So he said he would try to come in, but if he doesn't, he'll be on the agenda for the next meeting.
Right, but in the meantime, I'm
And-
wondering if we get more information, if we could just get an updated budget so that we can have a chance to look at that before we even come to the next meeting, if that's possible.
It's possible. This was as updated as we had, this was done 12/12. I know that the expenses, first of all, yes. Secondly, I would suggest that people send their, if you want to send your questions and we can compile them, that way you'll have an overview of what some of you all want to talk about. With respects to this, the only thing that is not on here are the remainder of the receipts, but my credit card statement hasn't been issued yet, so the remainder of the receipts for the holiday, the Old Orchard holiday tree lighting, and then Fran has not given me her statement for December. Okay, correct. Right,
I'll send him
So-
an email.
Yeah.
How's
Okay.
that? Just to kind of clarify what we're needing.
Yeah, and I just think the breakdown, like, I think that's what we're missing that we've seen before is under each line, we kind of knew what was taken out of each line, just so that we know where banners went, what kind of advertising are we talking about? Where did this go? Because I think that's hard, just see a summary that's would be helpful for me.
and that's fine, and he's never done this before. I
Oh,
just
no.
asked him to run the revenues. Eric is no longer here, so Gregory sent me basically what I asked, so I'm
Great.
sure that there's not an issue with breaking it down.
Thank you.
I'll make life easy and I'll reach out to help.
Oh, okay.
Holland or Angel
Thank you.
or anybody from the past, do you feel like you maybe have a copy of last year's budget? So I can kind of do, maybe get an apples to apples, at least.
Maybe.
Seeing this all with new line items would be really difficult, I think, to kind of sift through it and go, okay.
Yeah, I think sometimes what we had before was 3 years past, so that gave us an idea what the direction we were heading.
Yeah. And not that he needs to work off of that format, but that'll at least allow me to wrap my head around something completely brand new based on where it was in the past and to kind of see what we've done before.
So as we approach the actual budget, that is how it's done. So when you prepare your budget, you will have the opportunity to look at 2 years before, because we do, well, I don't know, I shouldn't say that. Most times, well, you all don't do capital improvements, but you'll get all that. They just haven't prepared that.
This is just our report from the year,
Mhm.
summary of
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, that's just where we are right now.
Well, and I'll reach out to and share what we're kind of looking for and why, because this whole new thing has come about for us, and then I'll get back to everybody else.
And this revenue, this is the money that came in. It's not what our cash reserves are in our bank account,
Mhm.
which was in the
But that would be a whole nother
Got it.
report.
Okay.
So what I was asked, and I thought I was doing something good. I was asked from another, one of the other ones, they wanted to know, they wanted to see the budget performance. So I asked Gregory to run all three. And so this is what this is. I
You are
invited
doing
him
something
here.
good.
You're
You
going
are
above
doing
and beyond.
something good.
But,
We do.
and I invited, but again, we got bad weather. He's having issues getting in, so he wasn't able to come in. So all these are great questions.
Yeah.
This is just not something we've gotten before, but this is, I think, above and beyond it's showing us. Usually we just gotten this budget. This is a nice extra step to see it, how it perform.
Especially
But
since
we
we have
will
the
get
new
you what
committee.
you need,
Yeah,
though.
yeah, we'll get, because that was gonna be a question anyway to be asking is how much do we think we need to spend to pull over?
Yeah.
And so this is helpful and I'll also, you guys don't have to worry about it. I'll reach out and work with Renee to get that and then I'll share with what we find out. So,
Well,
okay,
Great.
Thank you.
yeah. Okay, we'll back up. Pam.
Morning.
Good morning.
So yes, I wanted to speak about the annual planning and report. Last year, all the, like Fran said, all of the commissions, made a presentation, however brief or long they wanted it to be, essentially reviewing their accomplishments and some of what they had foreseen they wanted to do in 2025. So this is, again, now we're providing some structure to it with this outline. And on it, it has, the mission, purpose, and duties. You don't have to have a mission statement, but you could, just state what your purpose is. Talk about your accomplishments, and then a work plan for what you plan to do, what your priorities are for 26. It could be which events you want to do, if you want to come up with any other events. I think the coming up with your merchant association is a great accomplishment for you to talk about, and then you can maybe provide details on how that applies and how that's going to change what you're doing this coming year. And then, as you've mentioned, just identify staff time that you may need that's extra. Talk about Fran's role, and then talk about any long-term ongoing projects and things. So
Pam, was there and I don't remember, but was this the formal piece like this last year? And it was just kind of magically done? And I say that nicely. So was this, or is this new to be official? Like this?
last year, there was, participation, and each commission put in the work, but there was not the structure of this document here. So
Yeah.
this is to help give you an outline of what we're looking for.
Okay,
We found it really helpful just to hear everybody's accomplishments all at once. I mean, it was fun. You all could hear what you all are doing, and council was able to kind of holistically look at each commission that way.
okay.
So that would be, and we're looking to get this done. You have this meeting and February's meeting to kind of pull this together so that it's ready in March. So I would suggest if there are a few people that would like to form a subcommittee, that would probably be helpful so you can work on it in the meantime.
And from last year's piece, is that written somewhere to give us an idea of the process, or this should suffice?
I mean, you can see what happened last year. I don't recall Old Orchard because I was not the liaison, so I don't remember exactly what Old Orchard did specifically. John, anybody else might know?
I'll see if I can dig it up in my email and we can use that as a template, and then basically using the questions and the objectives that they're listing here, we can take that and I can give it to AI and have them write it for us.
I also,
I've never met AI.
Yeah.
Haven't used AI yet.
I mean, if you want to talk to any of the other chairs, David Smith's really, he's the chair of Old Webster. Just to find out a little bit more, that could be something to help you.
Okay. Thank you for
It was
that.
very simple last year.
Huh?
Very simple. We definitely can expand on it with all sorts of new ideas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but don't
All the
lock us
great
into doing
accomplishments
things.
from last
Yeah.
year and all the great new things we're gonna do this year.
And then the other thing I just wanted to say is I attended the holiday festival. I thought it was great just from, just from being there and putting my eyeballs on what was happening. I wanted to thank Angel and Fran and Renee for their work. It seemed that they had been there a good part, if not all of the day. So thank you for that. And it was great that we had beautiful weather and a lot of people at the tree lighting, so.
Thank you.
Then I was just gonna let you know about council a little bit. Last week, we had the first and second public hearing, the first and second reading of the KBC Children's Hospital project. On this coming Tuesday, we'll have the third reading and probably subsequently vote on that. And then we'll be entering budget season and hearing what everybody would look to be doing and having for their budgets for next year. And we'll be talking about that pretty from March through June. So. Oh, one last thing. The Safe Streets for All grant is underway. A lot of planning is taking place, and we do have a QR code with a survey for everyone to take, and this is all just for residents to hear what they would like to do. The grant covers planning and demo sites, and then implementation will come in another phase.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think the 2025 district events kind of leads with kind of summarized. I mean, we talked about,
We're at 2024. We had the Halloween walk is a citywide thing. Is that correct?
Right, it wasn't something that Old Orchard organized, it was citywide.
Citywide. So what are our organized things? It's
Well, if you look at what we put on the brochure, as an example, it's everything that we did last year. So you've got the gazebo series,
Okay.
trick or treating, and the festival. And I guess the question is, do you want to continue? Do you want to add? Do you want to change?
well, that's not really up to us.
I mean, it is, I'm teasing because there's the other organization to figure out what else we might need. So I mean, from here is our things that we think the community would want and then that way we,
So Mr. President, John Barr should be talking about that, but this is Vice President Angel on the side, and I will bring that back to this meeting.
Exactly.
yeah.
Number of signatures I have in my life.
Well, and then we go to the group that's on here and make a
pitch.
pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll get, once this
And
is,
maybe you get some additional
And then we
ideas
can-
from that group.
yeah, that's what I mean, we get some
Yeah.
ideas, so, I mean, I'm also happy if we need to, I'm sure you have online capabilities of Zooming and all that kind of stuff, but if we need to,
2025 ideas.
yeah, or I mean, I can help set up a online Zoom call if you want one, John. For this group, so we'll tackle that in a moment. So BDC update. Let's move on.
They're planning another business coffee, February 26th, location to be determined, because the rec center wasn't available. They're planning a co-hosted happy hour with the chamber on January 30th. That location is also to be determined.
February 26th on the coffee.
Coffees in the morning, again. Happy hours at happy hour.
Fran, I can check and see if our event space is open for a meeting on that morning.
Oh, cool.
Is that Wednesday, the 26th, did you say?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll find out and I'll send you an email.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
Time you think that's gonna be? I
No, she's talking about the coffee,
think it's 8 AM or 9 AM.
8:30.
Awesome. Hey there. Good morning. And moving on to a city update.
So this, I don't know if everybody knows who, this is Gregory Donovan.
Hi.
Gregory is our Director of Finance. So
Hi.
Gregory is the person that budget questions, the layout of what you need. This is the gentleman that can make it happen.
Oh, yay. You got the
Don't-
magic.
Don't overpromise.
No, this is a simplified thing. This is simple, no, so I didn't realize, I was just trying to give them a performance to date where they were.
Sure.
They're asking for a breakdown under the categories, just to get a determination of what was spent where. And I explained this is our first time doing this, so we're
Gotcha.
happy to accommodate.
Sure, so, I mean, you're looking for a list of expenses under the different line
Yeah,
items?
so
Yeah.
we have the new Old Orchard Business District Committee that has been forming. And with that, the role of it is to pretty much, to make it simple, to put the events on. So, which we then have to come here and it's pretty much the same people. However, we have to come here to ask for the money to be able to put those things on. So we're unsure on one area where like the gazebos here and certain things came from, so we can then request for the budget to be moved that way. And then that, just so we can kind of understand, I mean, we realize we could probably say, hey, just transfer this at some point in time, but if we're trying to kind of plan and see what we've done, that's one of the things. So I don't know at what point, how does like Fran's role from here transfer over to say the gazebo series, which needs to come over here. So we were kind of unsure in planning, because this is brand new for us. That's one of the things that we were kind of looking at. And we've not, some of this is new, seeing some of the like FICA and medical insurance was new for us to see some of those things for the first time.
Sure,
But, no, this is great. We just have this new entity that we now
Got it.
have to kind of shove things over to and don't know how it's all played out.
well, I can certainly speak to the personnel expenses, which is the FICA and Medicare or the salaries, so, the way it was passed on to me was that when, so previously, Yvonne Steinberg she would be tracking by hand certain people's hours when they would spend it in the business districts, including hers. And then theoretically, at the end of the year or twice a year, we were making expense transfers from the general funds over to the business district. So it was decided that since Parks dedicates at least one person pretty much full-time, it's my understanding. So I could be wrong, this is again, how it was explained to me, to the business districts during the course of the year, and then a few others who pop in and out every now and then to do certain work, maybe whether it's during the heat of the summer, making sure all the plants are watered or all that sort of stuff, or certain maintenance items. We set it up so that they could bill directly to the business districts. And so the way it's divided up is Old Webster picks up 50% of their hours, Old Orchard picks up 40%, and Crossroads picks up 10%. That was the division that was given to me to put into the system. So that's where that line item is coming from. We're pretty much close to 100% of what we budgeted, so I haven't looked at where that is going to go, and what that means for next year. Part of that will be me getting with Mr. Davis, since he had been running Parks and Rec, to kind of get a perhaps better understanding of that. As for Fran would be either under contract services or professional services. I know I'm not looking at it, but in terms of line items. And then the gazebo series is probably under special events, but may I take a look at that real quick, sir?
And there's no special events
No special events.
line item on here.
I would think you're probably gonna be successful if you break down everything that was taken from advertising.
Okay,
Yeah, because that's a big chunk of change for
Got it.
advertising.
And I think that's where most of the stuff you're gonna find.
okay,
When we got to the budget each year,
sure,
whoever was delivering it to us, in the past it was Derek Peterson, before that it was Mara, they would go. All right, so last year we spent this much on that on salaries, or that wasn't even in the line item last year,
Sure.
or that we spent this much on advertising. That was from this, and this.
okay,
And not exact, but enough that we had a general idea of what that was, so we
Okay.
could then project for the year to come.
got it,
And for every, there's, all of these are broken out further than they were in the past. None of these salaries were comp, non-public. A lot of this stuff was done in a different format.
sure,
And so we'll, to wrap our head around it, we're gonna try to dig up our old budgets, so we can kind of go,
okay,
oh, that's what this was in the past, because it's hard to project for the future when it's not apples to apples. We're looking at, to me, this is a whole new P&L basically.
Got it.
Right, and with new, so I'm gonna try to dig up an old and see, and maybe you can translate, oh, this is now this.
sure, yeah.
Since you
And
changed them.
if you can send it to me, that'd be great, so.
And I'll get that from you, maybe get that, his contact information from you.
Yeah, I'd be happy to help. So,
Cool.
are there any other other questions I might possibly be able to answer?
No, it was more just because
That's that, yeah.
this new piece for us is
Okay.
what we have to, and I realize, like I said, it's a small enough situation that if, oh, whoops, we should have asked for this and it can go, but just to kind of
Sure.
starting off the good foundation to see where if we're in a good spot or how we need to approach. And I think it would, that would just be helpful. And if it's
Absolutely.
easier to like come in and sit down just to do it, so you don't, I'm happy to do that too. You know what I mean? Sometimes just having a conversation versus going
Absolutely.
back on email.
Sure.
Makes things a little easier. You just cut to the chase and you're done. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Gregory, can I ask
Yes.
a quick question out of curiosity? The breakdown of Old Orchard doing 50, Old Webster 40, and Crossroads 10, is that based on revenue and percentages? And does that ever change, or is it just sort of that's the way it's always been?
I do not know that that's the way it's always been. That's what was given to me. And I believe it was based on and not so much on revenue, but more of on an estimate of time spent, that
Okay.
the parks estimated that, half their time was in Old Webster, the majority of the rest of the time was in Old Orchard, and then they spent just a very small amount of time in Crossroads. Just part of has frankly to do with, how many flower pots you got. Gazebo Park and,
Sure.
maintenance and things like that. Crossroads does not have a lot of that sort of thing. So that was my understanding. So,
Great, that's
Yeah.
helpful. Thank you.
yeah, open to revisit. So.
Cool. Any other questions? Thank you.
So.
Alright. So Pam, city update you kind of did before, or you have?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
that's it.
Making sure.
Got it.
Thank you for asking.
All right, anything else anybody would like to?
I reached, I don't know, I know on Fran's email to us that we're missing our Webster University vac person. Did I understand that correctly? I used to work there for almost a decade. I can reach out to see and do some feelers, but I didn't want to do that if other people were already kind of connected with Webster U and asking people over there. But assuming we did want a rep from Webster U.
I have at it.
Okay.
And he's no longer working for Western University, so he can't be eligible to be.
Alrighty, thank you. Anything else from anybody? All right, well, we have our next meeting is February the 11th. And we will spend a majority of the time making sure this gets done on that meeting. So any work ahead of time, so we can knock this out. So my suggestion would be that you all come up with your own answers to this and we'll compile and look and see. And then that way we all might have the same things, but then we can just button it up so we're done.
So, and I will look for, see if I can find the last year's one, the mission statement and purpose and duties, if I'm sure that that's spelled out somewhere.
Awesome, thank you.
And if anybody has, I'm happy to help too, if you wanna have any questions or wanna bounce any ideas.
Yeah, anybody can send us last year's budget and last year's mission statement that I read. I'm sure I have an emails I can dig, but that'll help us give us a template for this year.
Okey doke. Motion for adjournment,
Make a motion.
second? Anybody opposed? Thank you all.